Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the After Stangs Show. I'm Billy Embody. Thanks for listening. We are live at Shug's Bagels in Mockingbird Plaza next to the bookstore, so you can catch us there and get a bagel, of course. Jordan Hudson stopping by the show. And Jordan, you guys made quick work of Prairie View A&M. Yes, it was one of the biggest blowouts in SMU history, first shutout since 2012.
Yeah.
What was the mindset coming off the OU game?
To bounce back and dominate. That was one of our main goals, and I feel like we achieved it. We could have dominated more and more efficiently, but I feel like we did exactly that, what Coach wanted us to do.
And for you, you kick off another game in Ford with a touchdown on the
sir.
Opening drive.
Yeah.
Is it something about being home here in Dallas that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable?
I mean, yeah, with the coaches believing in me and having confidence in me to play, that plays a big role in it. My family being there every weekend with their support. I mean, it's just great being home, having your people around you, and it's great. Lovely.
Your relationship with Preston Stone goes back a little bit.
Yeah.
You had the ankle early against OU, so it was good to see you out there, first of all. But how have you guys built that relationship in such short time?
Just really staying at it. P a really humble guy, but he hungry. He hungry, and that's what I love about him. I love my quarterback being humble but hungry, like humble hungry. Like, I mean, that's a great thing. You always want that in your quarterback. But we did a good job building the relationship by just doing the small things, staying out to practice, doing just being available to him when he needs me to be, with his coaching. With his trainers, being there for him to throw, just little stuff like that.
Your defense pitches a shutout, first one since 2012 for SMU.
Yeah.
What have you seen from that group over the course of the first 3 weeks?
Man, them guys dominant. Them guys are dominant. They let it loose. That's what I can say. It's a lot of older guys in that group, and I just feel like they just get after it and let people have it. I just feel like with them being on my back end, I feel like there's gonna be a lot of success this year.
For this offense, you guys get a huge performance out of Kamar Wheaton.
Yeah.
He bounces back in his first game. Kyle Levine gets back out there. That stable of running backs, how much does that help you guys open up the passing game?
I mean, that help us a lot. When you have guys like Kamar, Rooster didn't play tonight, but guys like Rooster, Levine that can run down here and smash in your face. Like, I mean, it's just a good presence and a big presence to have. When you have guys like that, it makes the guys step up in the box, and that just allows me and Preston and all the other guys to get open.
With the receiver group that you guys have, a lot of rotating.
Yeah.
How have you guys continued to build each other up and stay competitive when there are those snaps that are up for grabs each week?
I mean, we just go at it hard at practice. I mean, we communicate well. I mean, the offense that we run, we go deep a lot. So, I mean, guys are going to get tired. So, we're going to need backups. And I feel like having so much depth, I mean, that's just a good part. That's the fun part about this running deep one play, and then you can come out the next, and the DB is still in the game, and you have a whole nother rotation coming in. I mean, that's just a good advantage to have. And I feel like the guys understand, like, yeah, we competing, but, I mean, we also on the same team. We got one goal.
That one goal is to go 1-0 every week for you guys. Was this game hard to compartmentalize into that 1-0 mentality? You come off a tough, hard-fought game. You've got TCU next week. How did you guys approach the mentality this week?
I mean, we just approached it by being dominant in every aspect of football. Like, first quarter, second quarter, just being able to finish and stay aggressive, even though we know like that we could win this game like without even trying, like. But just stay hungry and just stay at it, like. And I feel like we did a good job of that coming out at halftime, scoring right away. I mean, that little things like that. Just
you get to see a lot of guys get snaps, from the guys that are walk-ons to backups to true freshmen. Is that just more motivating for you guys? Hey, let's get up big here and let's get them in the game.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal every week to let those guys get the experience that some of us didn't have, and I mean that just plays a big role in them. I just feel like that's the good part about our team. Like, I mean, if we got the young guys that could come in and play the game and make a big impact.
Pony Sports DTX, appreciate them getting you here. You're a guy who came back to SMU. Obviously, you didn't go far, but you do come back to Dallas. What's it been like being back here? You mentioned your family earlier.
I mean, it's been good. Getting to get around my family a lot more. Like, I just actually left my family. Like, they still tailgating. They still up there barbecuing. I probably smell like barbecue. I just left my family barbecuing, but it's been a big impact. Getting to see my granny, just small things like that. Getting to play with guys in the community like Kamar Wheaton, Roger Daniels, like just small stuff like that that just make you feel good about yourself and the decision you made that I made.
That Dallas community that SMU trying to build in recruiting and transfers, what is that pitch like from somebody like you coming back and going into the portal and evaluating your next stop?
I mean, it's really no place like home, but I mean, some guys, they got to go experience that. And I was one of those guys that just had to go see for myself. And I feel like with us being going to the ACC, I mean, it's going to be a big pull trying to get the local kids to stay home. And I feel like if we stay on it as a whole, as a team, and recruit as one, I feel like we can do it and we can bring the city back.
What was your reaction to the ACC news? Because you probably came in hearing a little,
yeah,
all right, SMU's trying to get to the Power 5, they're trying to get to the Pac-12, and then out of nowhere, in a way, the ACC comes about. What's your reaction to that?
I was just like, I got another opportunity to go to the national championship. That's all I was thinking about.
And for SMU to get that opportunity from a recruit angle, is that something where with that power conference now, you or other guys that are big time players in Dallas would have given SMU that little extra look in high school?
Yeah, most definitely. Like SMU being such a small conference, an American conference, I mean, nobody, like coming out of high school, everybody told us like, you're not gonna make it big if you don't go to a big school, or you're not gonna do this if you don't go to a Power 5 school. And I mean, us not knowing as young kids, I feel like that could put a strain on you. And I feel like now that SMU is in the ACC, I mean, it's gonna be different for sure. Recruiting gonna be a whole lot different.
What's your message to Dallas kids that are out there that want to stay home?
Why leave? I mean, it's getting tax free. I mean, you getting the best of both worlds. Getting to the ACC, going to a Power 5 school. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Next week for you and Kyron, what is that going to be like going back over there, and how motivating is it for you?
I mean, I'm ready. I've been dwelling over this a long time since I left. Actually, been on my mind all these games. I mean, I'm just ready to go show them what they missed out on.
And the battle for the Iron Skillet, obviously the future in question now. Does that motivate? Is that something you guys talk about, that you look ahead now and you see 3 of them at least on the schedule right now, makes it even more important to go out there and grab one?
Could you ask that question?
With the future of the battle for the Iron Skillet in question now, is that something you guys talk about? Hey, let's go out there and let's get one of these, 2 of these, 3 of these, and end this series, with a high note in a way.
I mean, I don't really feel like we approach the game like that. I mean, we just go into every game with dominate, and we got to be different in every aspect of the game, and we got to want it more than the other team. I mean, we just go in the game confident and knowing that we practice all week and that we better than them, and we're gonna show them.
What do you guys have to do to accomplish the rest of your goals the rest of the way?
We got to stay humble, stay hungry, and just keep going. Just keep going. stay humble. I would say that's one of my big ones. I say just stay humble, stay grounded. No matter how the season go up or down, I mean, just stay grounded.
Awesome. Jordan Hudson, thanks for joining us. Former 5-star receiver,
Yes,
Garland, standout. Appreciate you stopping by, and enjoy the trip back over to Fort Worth.
Yes,
and
sir.
We'll be watching.
Can't wait.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Jordan. Appreciate you. Get home safe. Go, enjoy the barbecue.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And we're live here on location, Shug's Bagels in Mockingbird Plaza. SMU coming off a 69-0 win over Prairie View A&M. Lots more coverage here to come on the After Stangs Show. Rhett Lashley did meet with the media, of course, after the game. And look, this was a game where Kamar Wheaton, Tyler Levine, those were the guys that got SMU up big. They were able to help Preston Stone in that offense roll between the run and the pass. Jalen Knighton, Dalton Gardner suspended this morning. They're not really expected to be out long if they take care of business off the field like Rhett Lashley wants them to. He said it was a class thing this week, but it didn't stop SMU from rolling. They finished 69-0. They finished with 566 total yards compared to 156 total yards for Prairie View A&M. SMU blocked a field goal, returned it for a touchdown. Chris Meganson got that to make it 14-0. And from there, SMU rolled. They got the backups in after that first series in the second half. Kevin Jennings looked great. Preston Stone, he finished 15 of 20 for 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, and that interception. 75% completion percentage. Really solid effort from him overall. And for that run game, to get Kamar Wheaton back, that was a nice sign for Rhett Lashley after all he's been through off the field.
Accountability is a big thing in our program, and it's our job, right? These guys we have good kids, but they're still kids, and that's our job. And so, there were some things for accountability with him. He handled it the right way. He's doing an excellent job in school the first 3 or 4 weeks this semester. He's worked really hard the last few weeks in practice, and it was good to have him. You can see he's got some explosion. He's healthy, and we're going to need him down the stretch with all these guys. So I think that was a real positive sign for us, and I think for him as well.
And another thing, SMU got that run game going, but they were also able to get Jordan Curley back involved. Preston Stone and Jordan Curley were just kind of a tick off. They talked about that going into this one for SMU, that they kind of were just one click away offensively from being back to that high potent offense that we're used to seeing out of SMU. And Jordan Curley, he drew a pass interference call that set up Jordan Hudson's touchdown early in the game. Then he was able to go down the field at the end of the first half, hit Jordan Curley for a 20-yard pickup to the 4. One play later, they get it to him on a slant route. He catches his first touchdown of the year. And then he opened the second half with a terrific catch and run. That was really important. 59-yard touchdown to cap really the starters' work. And Jordan Curley's kind of been through a lot. He got nicked up this week at practice, and Rhett Lashley was really complimentary of him as he emerged this week to be the Jordan Curley that we've all seen in the past when healthy.
It was really good, and Jordan hurt his ankle on Tuesday in practice. And so I think for him it was a big step because he showed toughness because he didn't practice Wednesday. And then Thursday, and you think, well, maybe we'll hold him this week. It wasn't a bad ankle deal, but Thursday he told Coach Likens, I'm going to play. He's like, well, you got to practice Friday. He's okay. And same thing with Jordan Hudson off the ankle last week. And those guys, to give them credit, they came out Friday morning, our little run through, and went full speed. And they wanted to play. And I think for a guy like Jordan, that shows that he's growing in some toughness areas that, in the past he's probably not played through, and he did. And not only that, then he comes in and catches the touchdown right before half and then makes the great run. He doesn't run out of bounds. He splits defenders and stays on his feet and scores to start the second half. So hopefully that gets him going for us because we're going to need him.
That offense is something that's going to have to be clicking going into Fort Worth. TCU able to put points on the board when they're rolling. And for SMU, this passing game has been just a little off. We saw it tonight come alive. They were able to get the ball to another double-digit run of receivers, which is impressive. Third straight game, SMU had over 10 receivers catch passes. Obviously, the blowout score, they were able to get walk-ons in. Joey Bruiser, the walk-on, caught a 23-yard touchdown pass. We saw guys like Trip Reardon catch their first career pass at SMU. Keaton Cheeves, son of Brad Cheeves, one of SMU's top leaders, caught a pass. It was just overall one of those nights for the offense that saw a lot of different players touch the ball. But look, I go back to getting Jordan Curley, Jordan Hudson involved. Those are two guys that we've seen varying amounts of involvement in the offense early on. Jake Bailey, SMU's second leading receiver on the night, with third leading receiver on the night, 3 catches, 54 yards. Roger Daniels had that 91-yard touchdown catch just right after that interception by Preston Stone. But again, for Jordan Hudson, we spoke to him. This was a big moment for him to kind of emerge and his quarterback back that up too.
It's great. It makes my job a lot easier knowing that as long as you can get the ball into number 8's hands, he's probably gonna do something special with it. I don't know if there's anybody on the team that can get yards after the catch like Jordan can. He's really, really special with the ball in his hand. And at the end of the day, it is kind of like a safety valve out there. So yeah, Jordan's really special.
So again, this Dallas push that SMU is making, the recruiting is picking up. We're sitting here, I've got the phone out because if you're a subscriber to ontheponyexpress.com, good news could be on the way for the Mustangs on the recruiting trail as they look to stack more Dallas talent in this program. Guys like Jordan Hudson, Preston Stone, Roderick Daniels, and others kind of leading that charge in the current roster. For SMU, their run game against TCU is going to be important. Everything's going to be important for this offense to click. But now that Kamar Wheaton had that performance, even tonight against an overmatched Prairie View A&M team, he finished 16 carries, 75 yards, and a touchdown with Jalen Knighton and Dalton Gardner suspended just for this game. If they take care of business off the field, go to class, like Rhett Lashley said, they'll be back for TCU. So that's a good piece of news for SMU to have that whole stable available for SMU in Fort Worth.
It was great. We've got a stable of running backs that can go, and it's very comforting as a quarterback to know that when your top 1 or 2 guys can't go, that the rest of the room can still carry that weight and still move the ball down the field for us. So that was really cool to see.
And we'll end on this in terms of our post-game recap. We'll get to our subscriber questions and our YouTube subscriber questions that are rolling in right now. So be sure to subscribe to ontheponyexpress.com. Just $1 for your first month to join, get all the recruiting and team scoop you need on the Mustangs as they get ready for the battle for the Iron Skillet at 11 a.m. next Saturday, a week from today. This defense, it's been one of the high points of SMU's 2023 season so far. What they did against Louisiana Tech was impressive with Hank Bachmeier and Smoke Harris coming to town. They hold OU to a respectable 28 points, 2 of those drives on short fields. They cleaned up a lot tonight and overcame a bumpy start on that drive where they ended up blocking the field goal. And they held Prairie View A&M the rest of the way, 156 total yards, 415 on third downs. They were able to just get after them. And the sacks for SMU, just 3 for the sack club. So another 12 grand or so rolling into SMU from the sack club. 7 tackles for loss on the day. They played a ton of players. And we saw in terms of injuries, guys like Brandon Crosley not dressed out. Jaquandis Burns not dressed out. They were able to rotate a lot of players and get different guys in for various reasons. And it's paramount that those guys are obviously ready to go over the TCU game. And as we get it into that, one of our first subscriber questions from ontheponyexpress.com, do I feel better or worse or the same going into TCU? And it comes from SMU alum 11. I feel just about the same. And this is a winnable game for SMU. We've seen TCU kind of have various levels of success this year. They've got beat by Colorado. I believe they ended up beating Houston tonight and got a road win on the road. Yep, 36-13. TCU was able to shut out the Cougars in the second half, score the final 16 points in the second half. And for SMU, it's very similar to the Oklahoma game. This is one of those games, and it's a rivalry game. Both sides are going to be amped up, where SMU has to take advantage of opportunities. And so I feel about the same because this is a team that is going to create opportunities for itself to make plays to win the game and beat TCU. Remember, SMU last year with a defense that ranked well into the hundreds in terms of total defense, was able to keep that game after a rough start to a one-possession game when it came down to the end. And that's obviously a team that went pretty far in the long run last year. And TCU, they're a very different football team than last year. Max Duggan out the door. Chandler Morris is now at quarterback. And for SMU, they have the depth. They have the talent to win that game. It's about capitalizing on those opportunities. When you see a play that's designed for Roderick Daniels to get that pop play, you've got to take advantage of those. You've got to take advantage of red zone opportunities. And so SMU has a lot of players that are pretty comfortable in Fort Worth and playing over there. You know, that's a stadium that the last few times SMU's been there, they've won. And so they're going to have to come in with a mindset of not being too overly emotional. That was something I think hurt SMU last year. So going into it, I feel about the same. I really do. I think SMU got a chance to win in my preseason predictions, which this goes into another question from 214 Stang. Updated predictions for the rest of the season. I've maintained throughout that I feel like SMU should run the table in conference play, and I think they beat TCU. And that's all on the table for them. It's a matter of capitalizing on your opportunities. And in league play, when they get down to it, it's a league that we've seen different teams pop up and, you know, are able to surprise teams. You know, that's we saw Rice Houston just a week ago. That was one of those games where no one would have picked that in terms of that happening. But, you know, Rice is a team that can sneak up on some people. And so they're going to have to stay focused throughout this season and not look ahead. Like Jordan Hudson said, kind of take it one game at a time, because every now and again you're going to see a team that's going to bring their A game. You know, a lot of talk about SMU with NIL and going to the ACC. These teams in the American are not going to let them off with a free pass. So again, capitalizing on opportunities is really important. Another question comes in from SMU alum 11. Overall takeaways from this game to the next. I think for me, you saw a couple of areas that they can still clean up. You know, Preston Stone throws that pass kind of behind Roderick Daniels. But in a game like this, when the two teams are a complete opposite in terms of talent level, depth, all those things, the little things that happen that don't go your way are going to stand out. That early drive from Prairie View A&M on the defense, that's something that's going to stand out. But they were able to tighten it up, and they got a shutout, and they held them to 156 total yards and 2.7 yards per play. That's a positive. So in a game where you're so much more talented like SMU was against Prairie View A&M, they're not going to be able to take away too much in terms of, well, SMU won this player matchup versus this player matchup. Those are things that are going to be tough to take away because the talent disparity is kind of there. So from that standpoint, there's not too much to take away. And then in terms of the offensive play, both two questions from 214 Stang and SMU alum 11. The offense overall today, I think you love what you can take away from a confidence building perspective. Those are guys that all those guys that got involved, you can build that confidence. Keyshawn Smith breaking that and scoring a touchdown, his first as an SMU Mustang. Jordan Curley coming back and firing up 2 touchdowns. Jordan Hudson bouncing back from a tweaked ankle and scoring a touchdown. Kamar Wheaton's performance. Tyler Levine getting those carries. Those are all things you can take away and kind of build on overall. I mean, this is one of those games where SMU was just over the top in terms of the talent. And so I think the little takeaway you can get is SMU was able to ultimately control the game start to finish. But the little bits and pieces of confidence you can take from it are important in the long run overall. And these questions that are rolling in, from our subscribers on our YouTube channel as well as on theponyexpress.com, we appreciate them. Subscribe to ontheponyexpress.com for just $1 for your first month. We're here at Shug's Bagels after every home game at Mockingbird Plaza next to the bookstore. Appreciate them for letting me set up shop. It's a cool atmosphere. Lots of people rolling in, getting their late night munchies, whether it be a bagel or one of their great cutlet sandwiches that they've got. So check out shugsbagels.com, order ahead, and get your meal at after hours, 6 to 2 a.m. It runs till so it's popping out here in Mockingbird Plaza. It was popping on the scoreboard for SMU tonight, a 69-0 win for the Mustangs. They look ahead now and face TCU at 11 a.m. Central in Fort Worth on Saturday. I like the Mustangs early on. I've said that. I think this TCU team is very different compared to last year's. Obviously, they lost a lot. SMU is going to need to capitalize on the big opportunities. We've talked about it before. When they went to North, they played a very good football game, but they had a few moments where they weren't able to capitalize. And that was it in terms of OU coming away with that one. SMU going into TCU, this is an opportunity for them to make a statement going into conference play. People are talking about SMU. There was a lot of people that were complimentary about how they played in Norman, but this is one of those games, a rivalry game against a school that has disrespected you lately in a big way. These players are going to be fired up. They've got to direct that in the right way, though. So it's going to be a big one in Fort Worth. We'll be there to cover it live. We'll have the After Stangs Show remotely, so you can catch it on our YouTube channel. We appreciate all you guys who subscribe to the YouTube channel and on the ponyexpress.com. Again, be on the lookout. Big recruiting news coming down the pipeline. We're just waiting for it. If you want more details, head to ontheponyexpress.com. A bunch of people subscribed as SMU moves to the ACC. So we'll be back with another edition of the After Stangs Show next week as SMU travels to Fort Worth to face TCU 11 a.m. Central on FS1. We'll have your full coverage. Thanks again to Jordan Hudson for stopping by the After Stangs Show. Pretty good insight there on both the win for SMU tonight as well as looking ahead to TCU. So hope you guys enjoyed this edition. You can check it out on our podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, and our YouTube channel, as well as on theponyexpress.com. So appreciate you guys listening. I'm Bill Embody signing off from Shug Bagels in Mockingbird Plaza. We'll catch you next week with another edition. Thanks for listening.